Good morning, you guys. Hi there, I'm Lori Winslow, and I am with Rain or Shine Chalk Design. I am an independent designer with Chalk Couture. This morning, we're going to work on another porch leaner. I am really excited about these, and I love them. I hope that you love them. If you don't, maybe you'll just enjoy watching as we create one. So yesterday, I created a white picket porch leaner, and if you didn't get to see that, you can look back at my videos. There's a whole video section. Just go back and you can watch it on replay. But this morning, I want to use, this is a 5-foot pine board, and I sanded it really well, and I stained it. And then this morning, I waxed it. I did notice that as I waxed it, some of the stain came up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with our surface. If that does anything to our chalk as it's trying to stick. I think it'll be fine. The surface feels good. It doesn't feel wet. Well, it's a learning experience. So this is the other transfer I have. Yesterday we used the monogram transfers, and today we're using the Welcome transfers. I looked this morning and this transfer is out of stock at the moment, but I'm sure they're going to get it back in. It's a super popular one, like the pickup truck that is hugely popular. So I'm sure it will be back. I did link the this transfer in the description up above. So if you're watching live, it's right up above. If you're watching later on replay, it may be down below. So I'm going to space my letters out. What I love about these porch sitters is that you can make them seasonal. And you know, I've told you, I'm a kindergarten teacher, and there's just something that I love about seasonal things. So this would be the 4th of July. So you could put this on instead of the O and make it look seasonal. I want to use the sunflower today. I just think that's really cute for summer. This is the O, so they do have an O that goes with it. And then, of course, the rest of the letters. I want to leave a little bit of space at the bottom. I might want to put something down there sometime. And I'm going to leave a little space at the top. I've seen a lot of different things you can do to decorate and embellish, but they also look cute just with this. This print looks really good, and it'll look great. So the fun thing about this set, good morning, Kathy. Thanks for joining. The fun thing about this set is that it does have all of these different designs. There's one, let me see if I can grab those other ones so you can see what they look like. It's always kind of fun to see what's in there. And I did link it so you can see what the other ones are. Hang on, I got a little bit of disaster back here. Got a bunch of things stacked together. I've been going through transfers. Okay, well, these are the two that I found at the moment. So there is an Easter egg and a heart and a star. Let's see, there's got to be, I know there's a couple more. Well, let me see if I can grab those. Oh yeah, there they are. They're just hiding under some other things. And I just love the seasonal things. Oh, that's the stencil you want. It's out of stock right now, but I know they're going to get it back because it's just so hugely popular. So there is the shamrock and a snowflake, and the pumpkin. So the cool thing about these, and I haven't set it up yet for this board, but I will, is that you can create a board, or even I saw some people were going to Hobby Lobby and other places and getting just wood cutouts that are just small, thin wood cutouts that are big enough to hold the transfer, and they're putting their transfer on the cutout and then they create a little hook where they can just put the different seasonal pieces on so that you can change it out. So in October it will look like that. I'm sure that makes sense. Or I hope it does. And I will, after I get those pieces all set up, I will put a picture up so you guys can see what that looks like. Snowflake and glitter, oh for sure. Definitely. I love the way the glitter looks. I'm not a huge glitter person, but I do love the way the glitter looks on this. And I'm gonna do this the sunflower. I just love the way it looks. So I'm going to do it, and these are a little bit bigger than the letters, so I'm just kind of figuring out my spacing to know that that's going to be a little bit bigger, but I think that's okay. It's part of the impact because it is big. All right, so I have a 5-foot board. I bought a 10-foot board, and this is I believe this is an 8-inch board, so it's a little less than 8 inches. So I just bought a pine board, cut it in half, so now I have 2 5-footers, and I sanded it really well, and I've stained it. And then this morning I used my wax, and I waxed the whole surface, and I will definitely spray, after I get it set, I will spray a clear finish over the top. I'm going to try, I've heard that there's a Rust-Oleum clear finish that's supposed to be really good for these. I tried another one and I didn't really like on one of my other projects, and I didn't really like the texture that it left. My engineer husband said because it left air bubbles on the surface is why I didn't like the tack. So it didn't ruin the project, it just didn't have a smooth finish. Like this is really smooth. And I sanded all my corners down so there's no rough edges. So when I go out to, move this around on the porch, I'm not gonna get any rough. There's no bad way to pick it up. It's gonna be nice and smooth everywhere. All right, I'm gonna fuzz my transfer. I did wax the board, but it's a new transfer. I wanna make sure that it's not gonna stick too hard. Sorry if I'm making the camera shake a little bit. My setup is different again, so I can put this long board on the table. My chalk projects aren't usually this big. Alright, so I'm just kind of eyeing my spacing. Again, that's an important part. I don't want it to look too out of alignment. And again, I'm not going to be crazy about it, but I do kind of want to see that I'm in the ballpark, not going too high or too low. So I'm going to do my words in the bright white. So my welcome is going to be in bright white. I think it'll pop off of that board like it has for all the other projects I did. Our pickup truck and the other things we did for the 4th of July. I'm kind of cheating today on my 4th of July things. This is not going to be 4th of July. I thought about putting the star on, but I really want the snowflake. I really want the, not snowflake, I really want the sunflower. But I think you guys have seen lots of ideas to use for 4th of July ideas, and that was kind of the point. All right, and this is a pretty big scale project. I have not done anything really this large, so I'm excited about that. Do any of you have porch leaners right now, or have you been seeing them? What's your take on the porch leaner thing? I know it's been around for a while. I hadn't really jumped on the bandwagon until I saw these. Good morning, Shelly. Thanks for joining us. If I miss you coming in, please just say hi. Sometimes I see people when they hop on, my phone tells me it, and sometimes I miss it because my head's down working on the project. So please know that I would say hi if I saw you come in. And if you really don't want me to say hi and let people know you're here, you can always tell me in the comments. Kathy, you said you haven't, but you really want to have a porch cleaner. Cool. Well, we need to get together and get that done. We do have all the tools here. We should definitely plan a day for anybody who wants to make one. Just have you guys over and you can use the transfers, and if you haven't done Chalk Couture, it'd be a great way to try it out. So I will look at my calendar and see if we can get a day that works for some of us, a few of us, and all right. I like it. It does have some positive specs built in, so it's not going to look solid. Let me hold one of the letters up for you. So you can see that there's some green in there inside the white letter. So it's not going to be a completely solid letter. And I like that. I like that it kind of gives you a little fudge factor too. So I'm just using the color to show me kind of where the spacing's going to be. Using the color of the transfer itself. All right, so if anybody else is interested in doing a porch sitter, let me know in the comments, and I will coordinate with you, and we will try to find a day to get together. Like I said, I have a few boards here. If you grab a board that you want, then you would get the size you wanted. If you don't have a vehicle that will hold the size board you want, if you want two of them and you want a long board, I can help you with that too. But we could just get creative, guys. We all need something to do in this crazy time of not doing anything. And I'm totally for following the rules. I want to stay healthy and I want my family to stay healthy. But if we are sanding, we're definitely going to have masks on anyway. So you could either prep your board if you've got all the stuff at home to prep it, or you could just come with your unfinished board and use the stuff I have. I'd help, or I'd just watch, or I'd work on my own. So the next thing that I want to do for porch sitters, yes, I have one more thing I want to do. One more type is the type that has a planter box at the bottom. So I don't know if you guys have seen any of those, but I just love that idea too. Just having a nice, it's just a simple box at the bottom. It's nothing crazy or elaborate. So that's the next thing that I am working on. I should say my husband and I are working on. He's been so sweet to help me when I need help and let me go when I've got it under control. All right. All right, there's 2 letters down. I know this is kind of a repeat of yesterday, so sorry about that. I guess doing them back to back wasn't such a great idea. But I can't help it. I'm excited about these. Oh, nice. So you like the planter ones too? Yeah, so we're working on that. Brian and I are working on putting one of those together. So hopefully we'll kind of have the ins and outs of how those work. So that when you guys come over, or when anyone comes over to want to do it, we'll have a clue of what to do. So let's see. So for the picket fence that I created, I bought a 12-foot board, and it was a 1x4, 12 feet long. So if you want that style, that's what you're going to want to get. If you want this style, you can choose the width, whatever you like. And if you want the planter box, I bought a 10-foot board, and that one is 10 inches wide. And then we cut it to 6 foot, and then created 4 1-foot boards for the planter at the bottom. So you basically just need 4 pieces, because it's basically a cube with a top open, but one side of your planter is the actual board itself, the leaner part. So if you're thinking about what materials you need, that's kind of what you need. I think we have plenty of the screws. So we're going to screw some of it together, and we're going to use the finish nailer. Sorry, couldn't think of what it was called. Our little finish nailer for the front. So I told my husband I did not want screws on the front of it, and he was like, oh, okay, well, we can do that. It's funny when you do these projects with a guy or with someone who doesn't, think about things like that the woman doesn't want the screws big. On today's, I missed that, Shelly. So I am totally excited about these, as you can probably tell, since now we've done two days in a row. And guys, the wax I put on here is doing a great job of keeping this. My transfers are doing great. All right, so I'm just measuring. I've got about 4 centimeters between each letter. I'm checking from the bottom of the letter to the top of the letter. Just trying to make sure it's visually spaced. Not too bad. So I love the seasonal aspect of this one. I'm going to do the same thing on the planter box one. And I have, 2 daughters and a daughter-in-law, or daughter-in-love, as I've always called her. So that's why I'm making multiples. And if they don't want them, I'm sure I can find someone eventually who will take them off my hands. But I do love woodworking of all kinds. My dad was a teacher, but his dad was a carpenter. So he grew up doing carpentry projects, and he actually, with the help of his dad, built our house that we grew up in. So I have a little bit of a carpentry background with my dad always. So he was a teacher, so every summer he was home, and there was always a project to make to keep him busy in the summertime. My dad was a golfer, so I learned to golf from him, and he did woodworking, so that was another thing that I kind of got to pick up from him. All right, so we're down at the bottom. I should probably turn the project around. Let me do that real quick before I get too far into this sunflower. I want you to be able to see. All right, let me turn my board. My space just doesn't really accommodate this 5-foot board very easily. Having my camera set up high. Oh, awesome, Kathy. That's cool. There's just something about knowing that, you know, someone built your home. That's just nice. So one summer we built a huge deck on the back of our house. And I grew up in Oklahoma, so we lived on a decent piece of property, decent sized property, about 2.5 acres, and there was a creek that ran behind the house. So I don't know if I was a tomboy by nature, or if that house and everything in it just made me that way. It definitely supported my love of the outdoors and critters, and it was a great place to grow up for me. Try to keep the spacing. This is one of the learning curves, is figuring out, should this be spaced the same or should it be closer to the letters because it is bigger. So I'll find out on this project how I feel about it. Alright, so the sunflower has the, hang on, I get a couple of things off my phone here, a couple of things off my screen. All right, so the sunflower, I don't know if you can see, it has the green in the middle there, and that means it's not going to have any color there. That's going to be the background color, so that's going to be brown. I think that'll look great. All right, now I've got this is my bumblebee. Make sure I'm saying that right. Yeah, this is my bumblebee color. So it's a really bright yellow. I haven't even told you guys that there's a new catalog coming out July 3rd or July 15th. So I'm really excited. That's the fall and winter catalog. We only do 2 catalogs each year. So right now we're working out of the spring and summer. And on July 15th, there will be a new catalog. So some of the transfers that I have will be retiring, which means they just won't put them out again. they might eventually come back. So if there's something that I have had that you really liked, you can ask me if it's going to be retired, and I can let you know. The welcome signs are not being retired. The truck is not being retired. Those are some of the favorites that I know are not being retired. All right. So my yellow looks pretty good. It looks a little dry, but I don't want to make it too wet. I don't want it to start seeping underneath the silk screen on this. And you can tell this is taking a little more chalk than most of my projects do, because it is such a big transfer. If you're popping in, say hi so I know you were here. I'm having my head down a lot more on this project, trying to make it not take forever. But this is our fun porch leaner. If you didn't see yesterday's video, go back and take a look at it. On my page there's a whole section just of the videos, so you can just choose the videos so you don't have to scroll through every post. If you choose videos, you can just go right to all the videos. And we had a share yesterday, so someone sprinkled the video, the love. So thank you to Christy Thompson for sharing my video. It helps my page when it gets shared. Facebook thinks that people want to see more, so they like that when our page gets, we call it sprinkling, because Facebook doesn't want us to say that word, the S-H-A-R-E word. They just want it to happen naturally. But most people don't think of doing that. Oh, nice. You have memories around barnwood, and yeah, me too. We always had scrap lumber, and if my dad wasn't using it, he always let me play around with it. So I did all kinds of crazy stuff, made all kinds of crazy stuff. Now all of these designs are the same, they're similar in size. So you're not going to be surprised by like, oh, the star's really small, but the sunflower's big. They've designed them to be the same size. So if you make an interchangeable piece so that you can change the seasonal part, it will fit just right. All right, so I'm just doing a quick little measure to see where I'm at. Need to come up just a little bit. And I'm not going to measure everything, but I just want them kind of the same. Somehow, one summer, my dad got offered the opportunity to tear down an old church that was right kind of in the middle of our town. I'm not sure how he ended up getting that gig. He was a teacher, but he did do carpentry, and so anyway, he ended up with this gig to take out this old church, and so we all piled into the car, and we all went up, and several days well, probably more than several days, but I remember being there on site several days. And then they got down to they had an old, wood floor, beautiful old wood floor. I mean, it wasn't beautiful anymore. It was pretty old. But my dad got the bright idea that he wanted to save that wood for kindling and for, our fireplace, which was awesome, except that meant that we had to pull out every nail that was in those boards. And so I learned how to take out nails pretty well. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I think I was 9 or 10 and old enough to be able to do it. And actually I thought it was fun, at least for the first million nails. I don't know about the second million nails, how I felt about it. But that was quite an experience to watch that building come down and just be part of that. And he got paid to do it. You know, being a teacher doesn't pay that much, especially in those days. I think he was still just teaching. I don't think he had, eventually he got his master's and his doctorate. Well, he might have had his master's then, but it still didn't pay very much to teach in those days. All right, we're on this last E. My dad was hilarious. He was, oh my goodness. He was just so funny. Such a great sense of humor. Always had us in stitches. Would just do funny things. He liked people, and he liked joking around. One thing he would do when we were riding in the car, well, usually his pickup. Like I said, he was a golfer, so, and I pretty much went with my dad anywhere and everywhere. I wouldn't say he was my person because my mom and I were really close too. I just was fortunate to have a really good relationship with both of them. But one of the funny things that he would do in the truck, would be driving down the road, and you know how sometimes you're visiting and sometimes it's just quiet in the car, and it would get quiet, and he wouldn't do it all the time, just, I don't know, every once in a while. So we'd be riding along in a really quiet vehicle, and he would yell out really loud, "Yeehaw!" And I would jump, of course, every time, not expecting that, you know, in a quiet car. And he would just laugh. He thought that was so funny. And I did too after my heart rate came down. And he did it infrequently enough that you didn't expect it. Like, I just wouldn't expect it. Yeah. But he did a lot of things like that that were unexpected. He would tell my sister and I that my sister's 5 years older than me. He would tell us when we were younger, my mom worked, and she worked at a bank, and so she'd be getting ready in the morning, and my dad would already be showered and ready for his work. So my dad would make breakfast, and he did that every morning for a lot of years, probably too many years, because he made, biscuits and eggs and, a pretty decent breakfast that we probably didn't need all those calories, but oh well. So he would make breakfast, and he would take the pan of biscuits out of the oven. They weren't homemade biscuits, they were canned biscuits, so he didn't go crazy. He didn't really cook that way. But breakfast was kind of his thing. He had a few other things he could cook, or he would cook. He did like cooking. He did kind of get into cooking as time went by. But when we were kids, breakfast was the thing. So anyway, he would tell us when he'd take the pan out of the oven that it wasn't hot today. Oh no, it didn't get very hot today. And so somehow he convinced us girls to touch that pan, and we would just do it briefly. I know it sounds terrible, and it was terrible, but the most terrible part was that my sister and I believed him. Almost every day we would touch that pan to see if it really was hot. Now, we had watched him take it out of the oven, so we knew it was hot, and I don't know what kind of power he had over us to believe in that. I wonder about that every once in a while. We just had some kind of trust of him. It was poorly placed. All right, the E's kind of peeling up, and I'm not sure exactly why, but I may come back later, and I can let that dry, and I can come back. The other letters had a little bit of that look, but not too much. I think it's probably the stain that's underneath the letters. It might not have had enough time to cure. Okay, so we have our welcome sign all put together on the board. I've seen some really cute things put at the top for something decorative to go like up above the W. I've seen people put rope. I've seen kind of creating like a cozy out of fabric and things. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to put on top. My focus right now is that I love the seasonal part, and I want to create those little wooden discs and put in some kind of a hanger so that I can switch those discs out for the seasonal part. I hope you guys enjoyed this morning. If you have not checked out our Chalk Couture, check it out. It's one transfer every month, and you get 3 chalks that go with the transfer. That's $20. And you sign up for 3 months. But the transfers are really awesome, and if you want an inexpensive way to try, you can. We also have our board and pillar club. There's information about that on the page. That is going to happen on July 11th. I know I ordered my transfer, and I just got it in yesterday. So this is our club transfer for this month that we're going to do. So I'm excited about doing that with you guys on the 11th. If you're interested in that and you don't know about it, go ahead and put club at the bottom with a question mark, and I can get you some information if you can't find it. Other than that, guys, I think we have a finished project. I will put a picture up so you guys can see what it looks like on the porch. I'm really excited about it, and now I'm going to work on that porch leaner. That's not much of a leaner. It's going to sit upright, the one that has a planter at the bottom. So I'm super excited about that. Awesome, Kathy. I'm glad you got your supplies too. All right, guys. I hope you have a great day. No, make it a great day. Bye, guys.